Yewoon was left speechless by the person talking to him, but then he asked when she had changed her number. Arian replied that it had been a while and asked if he was surprised. She knew he truly was. She also added that it had been a long time since they last talked. The young man, without much delay, asked why she had called him. The blonde replied that she was about to go to sleep, but suddenly remembered him, so she called. With a hint of mischief, she asked if he hadn't thought about her lately. Annoyed by what he heard, Yewoon simply said goodbye to end the game quickly. However, Arian asked him not to hang up and questioned why he was being so cold with her. She began recalling how he used to work at the cafe and how he didn't want to talk to her back then either. She asked if he wasn't going too far. Irritated, Yewoon said he just wanted to ask one question because this happened every day. He wanted to know why she kept going to the cafe and what she needed from him. As if it were all a game, Arian said she didn't need anything from him, that she just often went there because it was near her workplace. She added she could even do the rest of her work there. But then it was her turn to ask, and curiously, she wanted to know if, besides all that, there was a special reason why she always went to the cafe where he worked. Yewoon moved the phone slightly away, thinking she was dragging him into her conversation again. But this time it was different, and he wouldn't let himself get caught in her words. So he told her he felt a bit uncomfortable, that it bothered him when he knew a customer at work, as it felt like they were watching him. Arian remained silent for a few seconds, as if that wasn't the answer she expected. Then, no longer avoiding her curiosity, she asked if by any chance he was in love with someone. Once again, Yewoon moved the phone away as if trying to see who was talking to him. She, in turn, laughed and assumed his silence meant yes. She added his reactions were always so honest and amusing. Even so, she told him not to worry, as she confessed she didn't expect anything from him. She started saying that whenever she saw him, but she didn't finish her sentence, drifting into another memory between the two, one in which they used to go to a 24-hour cafe quite often. Yewoon asked if that was true, and Arian replied that yes, they used to stay up all night there, doing homework and drinking together, then waited for the first bus. She added that he stayed with her when she didn't want to go home. The young man remained silent for a few seconds, then said he wasn't sure and questioned if they really did that. Arian assured him they had, and she remembered everything, from the jazz music playing in the cafe to the dirty bathrooms. She confessed she remembered it so well because that place was the most fun she had ever had. That's why she asked if he really didn't remember anything. She recalled how after a conference they went to see Bong Chan-soo's new movie, which was a bit naughty. Then Yewoon answered honestly. Yes, he remembered everything she had said, but he didn't feel anything special about it. To him, they were just everyday stories. So he didn't mind if she remembered those days. Nothing would change between them. With no other options, Arian said she understood, that she was done reminiscing, and wouldn't call him late at night again. But still, she asked if he minded her continuing to go to the cafe where he worked, as she simply liked the coffee there a lot. Yewoon replied she could do as she pleased, that he wasn't the owner of the place, so he couldn't kick her out. Although he thought that if he got a full-time job, he would be the first to leave. Finally, he said a dry goodbye, but she shouted for him to wait. Annoyed and tired, Yewoon asked what was it now. Then his ex said she just wanted to tell him that she had moved out and no longer lived with her parents. She also revealed that her new home was only 2 subway stops from her workplace, and that if he ever got bored, he could visit her. She asked if he agreed, unaware that it actually irritated him. That's why he asked why he should go and immediately hung up. Afterward, he wondered what she wanted, calling him so late and talking about the past. He questioned if she thought he was still the same as before. He thought about blocking her number, but took a moment to reflect. He believed that if he blocked her and no longer heard from her, she might do something at his workplace, since it was nearby. Therefore, the best option was to keep his distance and push her out of his life. If he ignored her, she'd eventually get tired. That's when he received a new message. Upon seeing who it was, his expression changed and a smile formed on his face. It was Hein, asking if he had already gotten home, and she sent a picture of herself wearing a face mask. Looking at it, he jokingly asked what kind of mask it was, if it was a bear or a raccoon. He admitted to himself that she was truly perfect. On the outside, she looked so grown up, but inside, she was still childlike. And he thought that trait was the cutest thing about her. He reflected that he had to take a picture and send it soon. But for now, he simply took one and sent it to her. He thought that memories kept piling up and special moments grew day by day, until the time came. He was sure that day would come. Then he laughed because right after she complained, Hain scolded him for taking the photo against the light and asked him to take another one soon, which he agreed to do. And the next day at the subway station, Hain was calmly reading, until Yewoon arrived, greeting her politely. She greeted him back and commented that he seemed to be in a good mood after work. He confirmed it and said she looked good too. He then asked what she was reading. Hain replied it was a poetry book, from which she was trying to draw inspiration for her compositions. Yewoon was impressed by her dedication and curiously asked if she read a lot. The girl replied not too often, but when she had time, she read slowly. Also, she liked poems because she tried to adapt them into her songs. Yewoon asked if he could take a look at the book, and Hain handed it to him without hesitation. He began flipping through it and noticed she had marked all her favorite verses, confirming how much she liked poetry. Then he asked if she usually bought many books like that. Hain replied no, that she preferred reading them digitally or borrowing them from the library. But if she really liked something, she made the effort to buy it physically. She confessed there was something comforting about holding them in her hands. Cheered by the conversation, Yewoon guessed she must have over 100 poetry books at home. That made Hain laugh, and she said no, she only had 4 or 5. She didn't have enough time to collect more. But she added that if she had the time and money, she would gather all her favorite records, instruments, and books, and pile them up, imagining herself as a child in a place full of her favorite things, saying that would make her very happy. Yewoon laughed and couldn't believe it. He asked what would happen if she died buried under all that. But Hain stared at him and said she wouldn't mind because that would be better than losing something she loved. That left Yewoon speechless. He looked away, thoughtful, while still flipping through the book. Then he called her and asked if she wanted to have dinner with him. He suggested going out on her day off and asked what she thought. She, initially showing no expression, soon smiled at him. She said that was fine and that the menu would be what Yewoon usually liked. She asked what he thought about that. He nodded just as the next train was arriving. Many thanks to the channel members, Raphaeltron and Sweet Tea, for their valuable support to this project. That said, see you in the next video.